Out of the 5 caterpillars that we've had, I never got to actually see one transform into a chrysalis like he's doing. I'm not sure how long it takes to do that. Anyways, this caterpillar is changing his cocoon color. Starting to look a lot like the big guy that we just let go. He still looks a little too small though, so hopefully he makes it. And we got a new guy here today. Couldn't quite get down the sticks in the cage. Insists on making his cocoon right here on the wall. I tried helping him a couple times. He didn't want no part of it. It looks like he's shrinking down into his body because their heads do pop off or shed right before they go into their cocoon. I've learned a lot about the whole process since we've been doing this. I've had these caterpillars now for about 3 weeks. They defecate a bunch, pee and poop, before they get ready to go into the process. Yes, he's getting ready to lose his head here soon, looks like. I've never actually seen this happen. It's disgusting. Yeah, he's trying to get his head off. Oh, wow. Ew, that's disgusting. Oh, my camera's not wanting to focus. This is weird. Can't figure out where that stuff is coming from. Come on, camera. Can't figure out where all that stuff's coming from. Oh yeah, there's his head. It's on his belly now, but he's pushing it down. This is wild. So glad I got it on video. Wow. And that's how it happens. Kept seeing all these heads at the bottom of the tank and I wasn't understanding. Now I do. Green is like a yellow stripe down their back. Now I use the same color. So they put out silk. That's what the two strings are. Did discover when our last butterfly hatched that the sac fills up full of fluid. I guess that's like the fluid that you can see right there. So they stay a caterpillar for like 2 weeks. And then they turn into a chrysalis cocoon. And they're in that state for about 2 weeks. And they actually come out the top. I had just missed our butterfly. At the beginning of the week, I had just missed them. I was just looking at them because their cocoon will start to turn a gray and become very transparent, like this guy in the tank is about to do. And I was watching the cocoon, and I had just walked away for like a minute, and I come back, and he hatched. I don't know, since it was so transparent, if he could see me, and he waited for me to walk away. But he was a beautiful butterfly. And all these guys will be butterflies. I think he's starting to solidify a little bit. I've learned a lot and have done a lot of research. So when they first hatch, their wings are really wet and really, really soft. Excuse me. And the first one I went to go let go, I let him go too soon. Probably about 20 minutes after he had hatched. And discovered that his wings were still too wet and soft. So I went to Google and told me that I had to at least wait for 2 hours. I have pictures of the way his wings looked when he was first hatched. And you could see the veins, and as time went on, because he was a black and blue and yellow butterfly, as time went on, you could see his veins. They ended up looking black. But as time goes on, their wings dry out and they harden. And so I put him back in the cage, and we just kept him overnight. And come morning, the next morning, he was flapping and ready to go. My babysitting kiddos have really gotten a big kick out of this, watching them from tiny, tiny, tiny babies. That's the other thing. Whenever I first found these guys in my garden, all of them, I have found them, they were little bitty black caterpillars with orange and white. They had a white stripe in the middle, and they had orange dots. It's amazing to watch how they go from that to turning into this beautiful colored lime green. I don't know if you can see them. Black and yellow caterpillar. It is a really neat process. And my babysitting kids gotten a kick out of it. Every single day they're checking the cage and watching. But we let our first butterfly go the other day. We set him free. The kids will be excited to see that we have 2 more chrysalis by the time they come back from after the holiday. Guess he's working on hardening. They don't really get too hard. They just get a little stiff. Crispy. Kind of almost looks like he's putting another layer over himself. Does a layer down the back and a layer down the front. It needs to hurry up because I'm about out of space on my phone. We'll come back to him in a minute to see if he looks any different. Not quite sure what's going on with this guy. So, Ignore all my sewing stuff, sorry. The tank is reflecting so bad it's hard to see. So this guy is changing colors. He's turning to like the gray. If I can get my hat for a second. But he's very tiny. The other guy that we just let go, his cocoon was huge. I don't know if there's such a thing as a premature butterfly. Trying to... What is the deal? Just wanting to focus in on everything else but the cocoon. Alright, well, may not be able to look at him. This guy is... This is the first one that's done it on the cage. So we can actually see the underside of what happens. There we go. So he's turning gray. And the other thing I found out too is caterpillars will adapt to the environment that they're in. And I had a couple leaves in here because I was trying to make it as natural as possible. And one day I could not find the caterpillar and I had no idea where he went. Started looking everywhere in the cage and found he had made himself into a cocoon underneath this leaf. But he is a brown. A couple different colors brown. So originally I thought he died before I found that out about adjusting to their environment. And so I was touching it and trying to move it, and hopefully I didn't hurt him. But the past few days, his color looks a little different too, so I'm thinking he might still be alive. We'll see if his cocoon starts to get transparent at all. But I had to pick the leaf up and I taped it on these sticks I put in here because I've had to clean the cage multiple times because they poop so much. So much poop. And they eat parsley. That's where I found them at in my garden. So every day I had to go out and pick them fresh parsley. That's how they get their water. They don't actually drink water. They also have a defense mechanism, which we discovered this when we first got them. We tried to give them water. That they have these little orange antennas that come out as a defense to kind of scare off their prey. Didn't know you were going to get a little documentary on butterflies and caterpillars. So, we will be back in a couple days. I'm sure there'll be some change in these guys. I need to post all the pictures and the videos and everything I've had for the past 3 weeks. Just a little neat learning science lesson. They stay in this state for a couple days, and he just got here today, so in a couple days he will turn into a cocoon. Not sure if we'll catch that one. Let's come back to this guy and see if not much has changed. He looks to be calming down and getting a little cozy. So a little bit of movement, but I guess the front part of covering himself up is a lot slower process. But I am about out of video space, so we will have to post these and free up some more space. Good night, y'all.